So I've been really enjoying the protests and the memes related to it, and all the trolling that's going on. It's
But in
pretty
terms of
funny.
the Canada protest, I will say it's barely getting any attention here in the US
That's what I was wondering.
in the mainstream media. And that's because it's not a good narrative, right? The
Yeah,
mainstream media has been very pro-vaccine mandate, and I'm somebody who's pro-vaccine but anti-mandate.
same.
Um, and it has gotten attention, the Canadian trucker thing, somewhat in conservative media or like non-mainstream media, but it hasn't been a huge story, which is just interesting because what they choose to highlight and what they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, like they'll do stories about very meaningless virtue signaling stuff, like how heroic it is that at the in the Premier League, which I know you watch, they all kneel and defeat racism with their 30-second thing that they
So
do before the games.
stupid.
Well, that will get coverage at the US, at least it did when it started, right? And they'll all be like, wow, this is heroic, or look at all this, and they just focus on very selective things from other
Yeah.
countries that suit a certain narrative. And this one does not suit the narrative. So unless you're plugged into conservative media or alternative media, you're not seeing that much about it here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole kneeling thing, it's such a pet peeve of mine. And I knew we were going to get into football at some point, but it's such a pet peeve of mine because, all right, you kneel and you do this, but at the end of the day, how is it helping? I've seen so many people and footballers go and complain on social media about, okay, this kneeling thing is wonderful and all, and it's a great gesture. And it's black footballers that are complaining about this, but they're saying that we get racially abused, we get bananas thrown on us. And the Premier League takes basically no action on the clubs. Sometimes you take action against the fans, but the clubs basically suffer nothing. You can, in Italian clubs, in Italy, this is an absolute nightmare, where Lukaku used to talk about this almost on a daily basis, that whichever ground I go to, somebody calls me a name, somebody's making monkey noises in the bloody crowd, and nothing happens. So what is the point of kneeling and doing all this, fist bullshit?
It's all
When the
virtue signaling with no real cost. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Nothing
and
pisses me off more than when the Premier League does their rainbow captain's armbands, because there are no out. I'm sure there are actually definitely several gay Premier League footballers, but they're
Yeah.
all closeted because the atmospheres are deeply homophobic and extremely difficult to be gay and be out in professional football in the UK and in many other countries. Yet they all put on the silly little rainbow, right? Like
Yeah.
it's all just corporate virtue signaling. In fact, you have the Premier League players are filled with people who, and I don't want to generalize because a lot of them I'm sure are lovely people, but you have lots of people from different countries with very conservative cultures. You have lots of people from lower socioeconomic status who didn't complete even high school, right? It's probably not a bastion of tolerance and progressivism in those locker rooms, but they put on the corporate signals at the end and do their little silly little protests that defeat racism.
Yeah.
Right? I just hate it. I hate virtue
Dude,
signaling.
look
It's
at
so
the
annoying.
most
you should,
egregious. Yeah, go ahead, Ahmed.
yeah, you should know this, Brad. Like the Indian cricket captain who participated in the kneeling to allegedly support people of color.
Don't think anybody even knows about that in the US.
He endorses fairness creams, skin lightening creams.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the guy, the Indian cricket team kneeled in support of Black Lives Matter a couple of months ago, which I'm not quite sure why, but they did it because I think they're trying to appeal to like an American audience. The cricket, they're trying to promote cricket in the
Because it's
US.
the cool thing to do, y'all.
Yeah, so they
Being
kneel
woke.
and everything, but this guy turns out like he is a brand ambassador for a skin lightening cream. So
When I have two good friends who are from India who came to the US for college. When they told me that skin lightening creams
Yeah.
were a thing, I was like, come on, you're fucking with me. I was like, you can't be serious.
It's a real thing.
That's
It's a real
terrible.
thing, and it's major movie stars that promote it. Like one of the biggest stars in India named Shah Rukh Khan, he was a brand ambassador of one of these skin lightening creams for years. Yeah, it's like the reverse of the tanning industry in the US, essentially.
Yeah,
So
and you
it's-
used to
the
get
grass
all
is
these-
always greener on the
But
other side.
I think
apparently.
it's worse than the tanning industry, because the tanning industry isn't about like skin color in a racial sense, right? It's about like having that like orange tan glow, whereas like they're
Yeah.
trying to seem whiter.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
very messed up. You
Which is
shouldn't need to
weird. Yeah,
be
it's always
whiter.
been weird to me. I don't know
Is that
why.
because of like colonialism?
I do think it plays a part. I think it plays a part where they feel like if they're like lighter, that they're somehow it results in like a higher status, which is like an old colonial hangover that we still need to get out of. I think people are emerging from it, but there's still, I think, a decent chunk of the population that's like, lighter means better.
And it's a thing here in India. You get these cringy TV ads where they all
Oh
basically
yeah,
follow the same script, where you have this girl who's a little dark skinned, and she doesn't get through the job interview, and the guy she likes is not interested in her, and then she gets introduced to this wonder product, and in 7 weeks she
yeah.
turns like 7 shades fairer, and that's it. Doors
That's
open
it. The
for her
guy likes him. She
everywhere.
gets the job and everything.
That's
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
messed up.
yeah, that's really fucked
Yep.
up. Because I feel like the Indian skin tone's pretty great. Like they have the
Just
perfect skin
YouTube.
tone. They don't need to worry about it. Yeah,
Yeah, not too dark, not too light. I mean,
a
just
good
just
skin
Google,
tone, mate.
just YouTube Indian fairness ads sometime and see for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yep.
But what was I completely lost track of what I was. Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you what pisses me off the most about the Premier League. So you were talking about these rainbow laces and all these little armbands that the captains wear every week, and they talk about how much they care about the gay people. But you had the Saudi Arabian government essentially come and take over Newcastle United, right? I don't think it's a hidden thing about how gay people are treated in Saudi Arabia. When Saudi Arabia was coming in taking over Newcastle United, everyone was expecting, because Newcastle United has a pretty robust like gay supporting club. So everybody was expecting the gay Newcastle United supporters to put out like a very strongly worded thing that we're not going to support this, we're totally against this. They just came out and said that we're in favor of it. We're Newcastle supporters first and foremost, and we will engage with the Saudi government in building a bridge between the LGBT community and us and the government. And I'm like, yeah, that's what Saudi government is going to do. They're going to listen to a bunch of gay people from Newcastle about how they can provide better rights to gay people in Saudi Arabia.
No, they just
That's
want
what's
the
gonna
fans
happen.
just want the money, if we're being
Yeah.
honest. They just want their team to be good. And I get that, but that's not very principled.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at all of Newcastle United gay supporters groups statements before the Saudi takeover, it's all very flowery. It's all very that corporate sort of, oh, gay people this, gay people that. But as soon as the Saudi takeover happens, it's a whole different ball game altogether.
That's very pathetic.
Yeah.